All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, and good morning. My name is Anissa Sonnenberg. I am the Education Administrator of the System of Support Office, and you are in breakout session 1, which is the System of Support Overview. Today, I have my colleagues from both CCEE, the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. I have Mindy Fattig here, who is the Deputy Executive Director, and she gave a little wave there. Also, my colleague at CDE, Wendy Little, an Education Programs Consultant, and Michelle Valdivia, an Assistant Policy Director with the State Board of Education. And we welcome you this morning to our session. So to kick us off, we thought we'd start off with the purpose of the California Statewide System of Support. So the Statewide System of Support was created in part of the Local Control Funding Formula legislation. So we are well connected with not only the funding formula, but ultimately the work of the statewide system of support should shine in the LCAPs of our local educational agencies. As far as our purpose, we're here to support the continuous improvement of student performance in each of our 8 state priority areas. So if you're familiar with, let's say, the California School Dashboard, those 8 state priorities are shown on there, as well as our LCAPs. We're here to address any gaps in achievement between our student groups that are identified for support. And ultimately, we're here to improve outreach and collaboration across educational partners to ensure that the goals, actions, and services described in a district or county office's LCAPs reflect the needs of the students and the community, especially for historically underrepresented and low achieving groups. So we thought first we'd share what our role is as state agency partners in the statewide system of support. So the State Board of Education is more of our strategic, our guidance and direction partner, and they help give approval and selection of our continuation of our lead agencies and our initiatives within the statewide system of support. And then at CDE, we help administer our funding for our expert lead agencies and other kinds of supports. And then we work collaboratively with our system of support leaders, CCEE, our local educational partners, which include our county offices and other educational advocacy groups. And then CCEE is also a main coordinator of the system of support. They coordinate and they collaborate with our lead initiatives within the statewide system of support. And they also coordinate direct technical assistance. So earlier, if you were present for Matt Navo's overview of the statewide system of support, he showed those 3 levels of support, and DTA is the level 3 intensive support. This is our ultimate goal statement, and our statewide system of support is here to provide coordinated, need-based, and differentiated resources and support to LEAs that lead to improved services for all students, evidenced by the closing opportunity gaps and increased achievement. So what you're going to see in our presentation today is kind of how we are meeting those goals, the work behind kind of our North Star here that you see on the screen, and some examples of the resources and coordinated efforts that are happening within the statewide system of support. So this is a graphic for those of you that like a visual of that are our visual learners out there, and this kind of gives an idea of how the system of support is broken down into the different levels, or really of who is providing the support. So we have the coordination, which is our statewide educational agencies that are here presenting for you today, CCEE, CDE, and State Board of Education. We have our 58 county superintendents of schools, where a lot of our lead initiative work are a lot of the universal and level 2 supports as far as differentiated assistance are there, as well as resources and coordination of support. We also have our 7 geographic lead agencies, which are our first layer of support within the system of support. They're our main coordinator of a lot of our system of support work out there, including building the capacity of our county offices to provide support to our LEAs. And then we have over 50. You'll hear that over and over because we're trying to make sure that we're highlighting our lead initiatives out there for our LEAs to start connecting with. And we have over 50 of those within the statewide system of support, and many of them are presenting today. But one of the things I wanted to point out about this graphic is it also is a symbol of kind of the evolution of the system of support in the last 6, 7, or 8 years, of how it's become a lot more collaborative, a lot more connected. But we're always looking at making more connections and growing, and of course improving the support that is out there for our LEAs, ultimately for our students. So I'm now going to hand it over to Michelle Valdivia at the State Board.
Thank you, Anissa. Hi, everyone. Good morning and buenos dias. I'm going to share a little bit more about how we are working towards a more integrated system. So a system that really provides resources for all and really provides targeted support to those LEAs that need it most. So this slide shows a little bit about the history of the work. As Anissa mentioned, the system of support was born with the creation of the local control funding formula in 2017. And in 2021-22, the state agencies, really spearheaded by the CCE, looked at the world of our agencies, our leads, and saw that in education code, there were 13 leads specifically called out as a statewide system of support. But we also know that there are so many county offices, LEAs, just folks providing support to our LEAs. And so in 22-23, the system kind of expanded, right? We took those original 13 and the CC created what is called the Students with Disabilities Collaborative, recognizing that we have a lot of other leads in our system that provide targeted support to our students with disabilities. And so those should be brought in. Maybe it's not in education code, but just because it's not there doesn't mean they're not part of the broader system. And since then, these last couple of years, 23 to present, the CCE, CDE, and state board staff have been working to create a system where it doesn't matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter if you're called out in education code or not, if you are providing a service to an LEA, to students, to families, you are part of the system of support, right? And as Anissa mentioned, we have over 50 leads, 60 initiatives. Again, a lot of county offices, a lot of nonprofit institutions of higher education, all of these create our system. And of course, this is our first virtual conference. And so it's a great opportunity to showcase all of the leads and all the great work going on in our system. You can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide kind of shows a little bit about who our leads are, right? Like I said, our system is composed of county offices, nonprofits, institutions of higher education, and they've been brought in over time. Some of our leads are ongoing, like Anissa mentioned, the geographic leads were kind of our first lead entities. The special education resource leads were also created with the geographic leads in 2017. And we also have leads that support our English learners, the 21st Century School Leadership Academies, which supports our school leaders and administrators. And then our most recent addition to our system has been the equity leads. However, all of that being said, we over time, recognizing that there is a great need in the field in many areas, the legislature and the governor have created a lot of one-time initiatives, right? A lot of kind of targeted support over a couple years in certain content areas. And this includes our Educator Workforce Investment Grant. There have been 2 iterations of this grant, one focused on English learners and another focused on special education. I believe there's even a third one. Again, this list is not all encompassing because we have a lot of leads in our system, but it's really meant to show that part of towards creating an integrated system, a system where everyone knows who they are, every LEA knows how to access those resources, is just having all of our various leads talk to each other, right? Get to know each other, share their resources, collaborate. And so this again shows a couple of our one-time initiatives. I think all of these are ongoing still, and probably some of you all are from some of these initiatives. And then of course, it goes without saying our statewide investments, right? So looking at expanded learning, the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, universal pre-kindergarten, these are other ways in which the state has decided, hey, this is an area that, it is needed, we need to invest in. And so as state agency partners and as a system, we have worked to integrate them, recognizing that they're serving students too, and they should also be tapped into what's going on in the broader system. So if you could go to the next slide, please. And then this slide, I believe, was already shared by Matt Navo, but it's really just our 3 tiers of the system, right? When we talk about the system, it is who is providing the support and what support is being provided. And so in California, we have these 3 tiers. The universal tier are resources available to everyone. That's really this virtual conference, right, is a universal tier open to everyone, students, families, educators. Our targeted tier is really the services that are targeted to our LEAs that are identified as being in need. So differentiated assistance, right, is a big, I think it's kind of our main tier 2 targeted support. Although many of our leads also offer targeted support, recognizing that, you know, some folks in some areas have different needs. And so that work can be targeted. And then our intensive support, which, as Anissa mentioned, is especially our direct technical assistance that is provided by the CCE. Although there is also within our special education world, right, there is the SIM process. And so sometimes LEAs are identified as needing support specifically around their students with disabilities and around those outcomes. And so that is also seen as an intensive support. And again, all of these 3 tiers in our system is really just for the circle of for the center of our diagram, right, for LEAs or educators, our students and our families, to make sure that everyone has access to resources. Everyone has access to resources, and everyone is connected to each other as well. And with that, I think I'm going to pass it back to Mindy.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's get down to it, guys. Okay, our state agency partners, we set the frame. All these resources that are available to you out in the field. Some of you I see on this call are colleagues that are deeply connected. UPK, thank you, Stacy. I see you. You're deeply connected to the system of support and these initiatives. Angelica through CDE, thank you as well. So you have an in-depth knowledge. But what I really want to challenge you as we go throughout the next 30, 40 minutes is to use these resources and supports and get them down to the classroom level. These are developed best practices, evidence-based resources from the field that are all free, that the state of California has invested to ensure that we can improve outcomes and bring resources to the districts when they need it, and how to get that in an equitable way. So you're going to see this little QR code. Someone also mentioned in the chat, we'll be happy to download this presentation for you towards the end. We can put it in a PDF for you and you can have the QR codes. But it all goes down to this, all of this is great. All the legislation is great. The intent of the school board is great, and CDE and CCE, but it doesn't make any difference unless we get the resources down to the folks that need it. And that's the administrators, the classrooms, and ultimately the students that need it. So that's what I implore you to take away from this particular presentation. Spread this information far and wide. It's all free, universal. Now, I've been at CCE for about 4 years now. Prior to that, honestly, and I kind of hate to say this, I had no idea that system of support existed. No idea. I live way up in Northern California on the Oregon-California border on the coast, the last county in California, and small rural. And I was a school administrator, a SELPA director. I had no idea there were free resources out there that could help my kids and my administrators and my educators. That's why the system is evolving, because we're listening to people from the field like you today, and your comments in the chat are going to be incredibly helpful as we continuously evolve this system. But we have to provide equity and access no matter where you live in California, and support the educators and the students across the state. So we're going to dive into some resources right now. And I encourage you, as you're going through this, I'm going to give you high level like overview. But if at time you're like, Mindy, I'm just not quite sure what to do, or Anissa or Michelle or Wendy, reach out to us via email. Please, we encourage you. We can do a Zoom training on how to access these resources. And likewise, if you have resources that are not on the Resource Hub and you are a state-funded initiative that provides universal supports for free across the state, reach out to us. We want to make sure that we have information to people out in the field. And it's not a who you know system, but it's a how you get information. So we're going to dive into it right now. So next slide, please. So Matt showed you the overview of the system of support. First of all, we realized about 4 or 5 years ago that there's no landing page for the system of support. It's who you knew. If you didn't know that Fresno County Office of Education has the Early Math Initiative that provides free, universal, evidence-based practices for supporting your littles in math across the state, If you didn't have a connection to Fresno County Office of Ed, you may never have access to those resources. So we created a resource landing page, essentially. This is public. There's two little 2-minute videos saying what the system is, how do I access it, and what the impact it's making. And this is basically your landing page to be able to access the other resources as well. So if you can go to the next one, we're going to dive into actually where you find the resources. Now, this is the levers tool. This is if you're in a district or charter school, and you kind of want to know, like, how am I doing as a whole on the best programmatic pieces of my district? How do I know that I'm going the right direction with my LCAP goals? We created the self-assessment tool, the levers tool. It's an electronic self-assessment tool that covers the best components of a school district's function. Everything from fiscal resources to program allocations, to mission, vision, values, to student outcomes and differentiation. We've included the highlight and the best components of successful infrastructures on supporting students with disabilities, on supporting English language learners, on supporting foster and adjudicated youth. All of those are embedded into this LEA self-assessment. This is a free tool to you in the field to kind of do like a dipstick approach, like how are we doing? You can do it together as a cabinet or a committee. You can do it as far as your LCAP with community members, and it'll give you a self-assessment on things that you're doing really well. You want to build upon your successes, but it's also going to highlight some opportunities for you. And the really cool thing we just updated based on the field was that once you go through the levers tool, it will automatically, through AI, put you to the resources that you need based on your self-assessment results. So it's going to take you to the next slide. This is the resource hub. So if you do your LEA self-assessment on the levers, it'll say, here are some resources based on your results that can really help your district right now. And not only resources, because I'm not sure about you, like during COVID in particular, we were called resource rich, implementation poor. You guys remember that phrase from COVID? A lot of Padlets, right? So you have the resources, but you also have a contact person that's attached to those resources that are, again, free, paid for by the state of California for anybody in schools in California. So you have a resource, you can use that resource, but you also have someone you can contact for questions regarding implementation and clarification of that resource. So if you do the levers, it'll take you and it'll target you into certain resources based on your results. You do not have to do the levers. You can do that independently, and you can access the resource hub without doing the levers as well. They're connected through AI on the back end, but you can access them independently as well. So the resource hub, what we're going to take you through here is there's different components of it. So the resources page that you see now, you can search for any keyword in the state. You can search on the side, you can search by subgroups. Maybe the dashboard is a hot issue right now, right? You have the dashboard coming out just right now, and you see that your district is red or orange in a certain subgroup. Maybe social economic, maybe foster youth, maybe students with disabilities, whatever the subgroup is that you're identified. You can go and click on that subgroup on the resource hub, and it'll show the best evidence practices free from across the state that can help you with that subgroup. If you click on students with disabilities, you'll also have an opportunity to drill down even further on those resources. So let's say you really want resources on least restrictive environment. Maybe you want resources on suspension, reducing suspension for students with disabilities. You click on that and it'll drill it down even further. Our English language learner students, if you type in any keyword related to that, you're going to find the resources. The key is getting it down as narrow as you can so you can exactly find what you want. The other really feature that we built in last year based on your input out in the field is the method of the resource. Do you want a handout? Do you want a PowerPoint? Maybe you want to watch a pre-recorded webinar. Those are all options for you in your search functions. You can delineate it based on what method or mode you want that resource to be in. Okay, if you go to the next slide, you also can search by initiatives. Those folks, I know there's over 80 people on here, but again, I shouted out Stacy, UPK. If you need UPK resources, Stacy and her team has UPK resources, and you can search by UPK. I see Nicole here too. I don't want to leave Nicole out from UPK. If you want English language learner resources like GQ leads at the CDE department, you can go to that initiative, the Regional English Language Learners Leads. You can scroll down and find all the resources that that initiative provides. So I talked about early math before from Fresno County Office of Ed, Count, Play, Learn. You can go and just go on Count, Play, Learn, and all of their free universal resources are available on that one initiative page. So it's another way for you to fine tune what you're looking for and get it in the most equitable and accessible way that you can. Okay, if you go to the next page, we also want to make sure we talked about it's not just a whole bunch of resources that are static on this resource hub. We want actual people that you can connect behind the resource to ask for support, ask for clarification, ask any clarifying questions on implementation, perhaps. Some of these initiatives actually have implementation support available for free as well. So when you click on a resource, you click on an initiative, or maybe you just want to find somebody that you met at a conference that you're not quite sure what their email contact was, you can go to the directory and you can type in a first name. You can type in, I think they were from San Bernardino County Office of Ed. You can search for anybody that's involved in the system of support over our 50 initiatives, all of our state board, all of our CDE departments, and CCE contacts. So you can get there any way you need to make sure you're actually getting someone to help you implement the resources that are available to help your students. You can go to the next one. So this, I want to leave you, so that was the resource hub and the directory. So it's an integrated program. That is going to be your main source for resources. We want to make sure that it's not who you know in the system to get support, but you can go to the resource hub and you can find what you need and drill down. I forgot to mention also on the initiative page, you're going to find each initiative page's website. So you can go and click on the initiative. You can click on their website. It'll take you to their website with more detailed information. So it's a one-stop shop for everyone in California to find exactly what you need and to get you where you need for more information. A couple highlights that we put out recently from CCE in collaboration with our state agency partners. This one is basically looking at attendance and chronic absenteeism across the state. So these are best practices for engagement to increase student attendance. So you can see the QR code, it'll take you to the CCE website with this attendance overview, but it also has real stories from the field on what they did to increase attendance and reduce that chronic absenteeism rate. So want to make sure you have that there. The other resource on the next slide. So this is a one that just got released literally a couple weeks ago. So you probably are the first people to hear about it. So this is a playbook that's put together by CCE and our Learning Acceleration Grant partners. Learning Acceleration Grant is another initiative in the statewide system of support. And it's the best practices and it's hyperlinked. It has great real resources that you can implement in your schools and in your classrooms on how you bridge that achievement gap from kiddos that we're still dealing with from COVID days. So if you click on this, you can see their strategic action. It's linked to UDL best practices. It's really for the practitioners to have truly a playbook in your hand on how to really bridge that achievement gap that our students are still facing due to COVID. So please, again, this is only 2 weeks out, so it's just been released. So please spread it far and wide as well as the other resources. Next slide. LTELs in the dashboard now. LTELs are there, long-term English language learners. So we do have LTEL and California Accountability. This is relatively new as well that we combined with our partners at CDE. It's support for LTELs out in the district. So it's going to be hyperlinked just like the playbook. You're going to have the California English Learner Roadmap. You're going to have how funding is decided and developed in California to support English language learners, in particular long-term English language learners. You're going to talk about assessment and accountability. What assessments do you need? How is that used? And you're also going to have an information on how to get statewide professional development. Again, really targeted on supporting this subgroup of population that are really in need of our support, and that's our long-term English learners. So huge thank you and gratitude to our department at CDE. I see GQ and Alicia or Angelica on here. Thank you for this. You're huge in developing this, and just want to make sure we can spread it far and wide to support our English language learners throughout California. Next slide, please. CEI. Hopefully people heard of CEI, Community Engagement Initiative. It's also one of our 50 initiatives in the state. It's run and operated by CCEE in collaboration with San Diego County Office of Education, University of San Diego. And this is really about the forefront, which I talked about earlier in my opening. How do you really bring a sense of community to your school to help support and wrap around the students to improve outcomes and to really support the educators that are doing the work? We have learning modules. So we have over 150 LEAs that are participating in CEI. A big shout out to Kashani Daniels on this screen. She's a huge person involved in CEI behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So if you have questions, please reach out to Kashani on the screen. She'd be more than happy to help you. But we have, again, so many districts involved in CEI, and they're doing problem of practices at the local level. So they're doing aim statements, they're meeting with students, and student voice is at the center and the heart of this initiative. You have students planning goals with administrators, with teachers, with community members at the table working together to how to improve the system of their school as far as community engagement and increase student outcomes. There are learning modules, this highly successful initiative. Legislation said, hey, we want to take all that you're learning and we want to make a universal support. So even if the district is not involved in CEI, they can learn and implement the strategies. Highly encourage you, take a look at these modules. They're really delineated on different community partnership and really spread them far and wide. They are practical, strategy-based community engagement things that you can implement now in your school for greater outcomes for kids and lifting up that student voice. So CEI modules. I'm throwing a lot of resources at you because we only have 50 minutes. So if I'm talking fast, I apologize, but I want to get them to you. Next slide, please. So also the events calendar. If you are on this call and you were an initiative or involved in the system of support in some way, we need to know what you're doing as far as your events. Just like the Resource Hub is a one-stop shop, you can go there, you can find resources, you can find help, you can find initiatives. The event calendar is also a one-stop shop for events coming up that are free throughout the system of support. So if there is a 21 CSLA administrator support conference, it's going to be on here. If there's a webinar that's happening from one of our literacy leads, it'll be on here. So if you are a lead watching this, please make sure that you know where the events calendar is, and please reach out to us if we can help make sure we get your events on that calendar. If you're not an initiative and you're an educational partner, teacher, student, principal, please make sure you pass on the events calendar to your colleagues, and you can peruse and see which ones are coming up, which are virtual, which are in person. And again, these are all system of support leads that are free and are universal to everyone out in the field to increase professional development. So next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague at CDE, Wendy Little. She's going to give you a little bit more update on not only the resource hub that we have, but we also want to make sure we highlight other websites that are available that are incredibly useful to bring supports and resources to you in the field. Both of these ones that Wendy's going to be going over are also hyperlinked on our resource hub. So Wendy, take it away.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mindy. Yes, the first one that we wanted to highlight for you is the CalTAN resource. Stands for California Technical Assistance Network, and it's really a great resource for supporting your special education students. Has monitoring tools and resources, as well as approved technical assistance providers. And improvement resources, all that have been approved by CDE for use in your learning communities. And here, I'll go back real quick, and you can scan that QR code or click when you get the PDF. You can click the link to access the site. The next, oh, you know what? We have one more in here. Mindy, did you want to talk about slide 22?
Yes. Oh, for sure. See, we just
We
like to
got
keep
these out of order somehow. So sorry.
We just want to keep everyone on their toes. That's all it is.
Right.
So the other thing I really want to highlight, and this is relatively new too, so the field may not know about this. This is the California High Quality Online Instructional Materials. It's a big long title, Initiative Legislative Report. Oh my gosh, say that more than once. But this is a summary of the high quality online instruction materials and the impact that it's making to the field, which Wendy's going to dive into exactly how do you access that and what it's for. But guys, if you haven't read this, again, it's relatively new, so you may not be aware of it, but please take a look at it because it really does show the impact that the high quality online instructional materials are making for the field. And if you are an educator sitting in this call right now, please look at what Wendy's going to talk about and share it with all of your colleagues because this is an amazing resource.
Okay, thanks, Mindy, for entering that. Yeah, so one of the places where you can yourself go if you are needing resources, like Mindy said at the beginning, she asked the question is, how is the system of support going to get down to the classroom level? And accessing resources like the California Educators Together website is a great place for you to go to access high quality instructional materials as well as professional learning materials. So you can scan the QR code, click the links. To access all of the materials, you will need to log in, register and log in for a free account, and then you have access to everything on the site. So I'll go ahead and just show you a couple slides. This is just a screenshot. Like when I log in, as for myself, I get my own personalized dashboard based on different searches I've done or different groups that I might be interested in, but it's all searchable, resources, curriculum, groups. And you can see up there fractions everywhere. So of course I took the screenshot last month in October. And if you're looking at the data on what was the most requested lessons in October, it was fraction lessons and Halloween. Those are the two most searched for curriculum for teachers to use in their classroom, which makes sense with where the scope is for math during the school year. And beyond logging in on your dashboard, you can head up to this resources link, and that's where you can really start getting into all the different types of classroom materials, professional learning materials, and again, like the resource hub on the System of Support page, this is also a searchable page that can be refined by grade level, type of resource you want. Are you looking for something curriculum you can use in your classroom? Are you looking for some type of webinar or video? So you can really do a lot of searching on here by type of resource as well as grade level or domain of learning. You can further refine if you just want to look at curriculum. There's a whole page that's searchable again by grade level, by type of resources, and these can be curriculum can be anything from a lesson plan to an outline to a whole unit of study. So we really encourage you to access this resource for classroom level materials. And then finally, you can join groups. Oh, you know what? Before I get to groups, I just wanted to show you all a screenshot of just the different things that you can navigate and refine your search by on this left-hand side. So once you get into curriculum, you can really narrow down the type of resource or grade level that you're looking for. And then finally, you can actually join groups. So if there's a subject area that you're most in need of for your learning community, you could join that group. You can create custom groups that you can add your own resources to. So that really wraps up the California Educators Together, and our last few slides here just really remind you to head over to any of our System of Support resources. You can do that through the System of Support webpage linked here and or any of the resources that we've shown you this morning. And we know it was maybe like drinking from a fire hose this morning. We've given you a lot of resources. So I just want to echo Mindy, what Mindy said earlier, just reach out to any of us if you have questions. This is our contact information, and we'd be happy to field your questions. If you're not sure who to email, you can also reach out to that general California System of Support at cde.ca.gov email, and we're happy to get your question to the right person in the system. And so we just want to thank you for joining us today. You can share your experience or follow the statewide System of Support on Instagram at any of those handles there. And we're happy to I can stop sharing. We can check the chat for questions.
Yeah, I've been
And
trying
then
to
if you,
oh, sorry, Wendy, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead. I was just going to say you can join us at the roundtable discussion from 12:30 to 1:30 if you want to get in depth on any more topics or questions.
That's perfect. That's what I was going to do, Wendy. You're reading my mind. So
Okay.
I was trying to answer questions as they come through on the chat. So the biggest thing is the events. If you have events to be listed, please look at the chat. You just click on the events at CCE, scroll to the bottom, and it says, do you want to list your events? You go ahead and click on that, and it's available for you. In addition, some questions about the levers, if you have particular questions about the levers, or if you want anyone at CCE to help walk through and do a Zoom training with you, we'll be more than happy to do that. So please just reach out directly to me for the levers support, and we'll be happy to connect you with that. The levers tool is being used by quite a bit of county offices of education to help districts and differentiated assistants do kind of a pre and a post on where their best practices are and what are opportunities. So it's also been used in that way as well as a proactive support to look at your district strengths and areas of opportunities of growth. In addition, CTE Online, thank you, Anissa. Yes, CTE Online is there as well. Again, so we're looking for resources and how to bring them all together. But if there's any questions right now, we'll be more than happy to field them. We do have some time. The next session starts at 11 o'clock, so in about 20 minutes. Huge shout out, thank you to those that are on the screen, and huge shout out to our CDE partners who are here and our initiative partners. Thank you for your involvement. And again, when someone asks who is the system of support, every single one of us is the system of support. Every single kid sitting in a classroom, every single teacher across the state, every single initiative support. And so just really grateful that we're here to do that together. So I'll open it up to questions if anyone has any questions, or Anissa, is anything, or Michelle, that you would like to close with?
No, just that, like Mindy said, we all are the system of support. You can reach out to any one of us here. We work collaboratively together. So if we don't have the answer, we find the answer for you. So I think our last slide has all of our contact information. So please reach out if you have any questions, need to be connected to any of our lead initiatives. If you want more information or how to find a resource, we'll make sure we get that for you.
All right, don't forget, you can stay, we're gonna stay here. Now's your time you can jump into a last minute breakout room. You can have a little bit of a break. The next session started at 11, but also don't forget the closing is at 12 with some closing comments from Dr. Robertson from the Chief Deputy of CDE, as well as the opportunity to really, as Wendy was saying, join us in our roundtables. You can log on to any roundtable you want. So if you were like, gosh, I really wanted to see someone else in session 1, but you were here with us today, go ahead and join their roundtable and you can have an informal conversation and get up to speed on what their presentation was, as well as the exhibit halls. It truly is pretty cool, you guys. You can actually walk through the exhibit halls like you're going to a real conference and click on something and find all of their resources like you would get handouts at our actual regular conference. So please feel free to peruse those. And if you had colleagues who are not able to join, all of this will be recorded. And so we highly encourage you to pass it on to colleagues who are not able to be here today. Okay.
I have a question here from Kristen about the Cal MSSC, which is the California Mathematics, Science, and Computer Science Partnership, and how they fit into the California system of support. So that would be a universal support. They're not an official initiative, but if you recall, Mindy talked about how all of our federal, state, and other types of programs that are out there, basically any program that is out there to help support our students and our LEAs is considered part of the system of support. So if you have resources or some other things specific to Cal MSCS that you would like posted as far as our resource hub, go ahead and connect on there to say that you'd like to be added so that you can start adding some of those resources. We'd love to have them.
Yeah, and as far as accessing the presentation, they will be at our exhibit hall. And if you wait just 1 second, I'm downloading it to a PDF and I'll drop it in the chat box for you. So other than that, Have a absolutely wonderful day. Please reach out to any of us if we can help support you in any way. And just really grateful for taking your time and joining our session today. And have a great rest of your afternoon.
And there was one more question about access to the recording. And Mindy, it's my understanding to check. I didn't have the official timeline on that, but if they log back in, they'll be able to access the recordings.
Yeah, absolutely. All the recordings from all the sessions. So even if you didn't go to sessions, because there's so many of them and you can log back in, it should be available. I'd have to check with VFairs, but not too shortly after the close of the conference. All right, there you go. I just downloaded the slides in a PDF for you guys, so it should be loading up to the chat here momentarily. And again, they're also available at our exhibit hall. And we can also provide them at our roundtable if you want to ask more in-depth informal questions. More than welcome to join us at 12:30. AI policies. Yes, we do have a brief on AI policies. So Michelle, if you want to reach out to one of us, we can make sure we get you some information. And also, as new AI policies are being developed throughout California and school districts, we are uploading those into the resource hub. You're quite welcome. And yes, the levers does cover educational policy and structures and supports at the district level. All right, well, thanks again. We're going to stay on here. You guys take a break or join another breakout room, and please make sure you pick an 11 o'clock session, and we'll see you back at closing at 12.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.